Hey guys, this is Andrew from Anything Nootropics. Today I'm going to be covering how to use nootropics. So how you take them, taking them in the morning versus taking them at night, multiple dosings in a day, the kind of forms of nootropics, and the nootropics that are water soluble versus nootropics that are fat soluble. So how to take nootropics. No matter what form they come in, all nootropics are taken orally. So whether it's a capsule or a powder, you basically put it into your mouth and either swallow it or let it dissolve under your tongue. If you dissolve a nootropic under your tongue like Noopept, it can go directly into your bloodstream. So when they should be taken morning or night without food depends on the solubility of them and what the desired effects are. So if they're, if you're taking it to help you go to sleep at night, like a melatonin or a galantamine, before bed's usually best. But if you're taking like a stimulant, it's probably best to take it before whatever activity you want to be stimulated for. So if you're going to the gym, you're studying, it's probably best to take it like caffeine's even nootropic to take that before you do whatever it is you're doing. And if you take them like I do for kind of general well-being and overall focus and clarity, it's usually best to take them in the morning so you get the positive effects all day long until also they don't disrupt your sleep. And if it says like a pi or stem that you should take it a few times a day, what you want to do is break it up into a couple different doses. So let's say you have like a 16-hour awake day, factoring in 8 hours of sleep. You want to divide the number of doses by the waking hours. So if you're taking 4 equal doses throughout the day, you would divide 16 by 4, which is 4 equal doses of 4 hours, and then take them every 4 hours. So if you wake up at like 8, you take one dose at 8, one at noon, another at 4 p.m., another at 8 p.m. That way you feel the positive effects all day long. It doesn't interfere with your sleep. What forms can they come in? So nootropics for the most part will come in 2 types. Capsules, they're simpler but they're more expensive, and powdered. They're cheaper but they're a little more complicated to take. So if your nootropic comes in a capsule form, it's as simple as getting it getting it down. So you want to just put it in your mouth, drink a little water or juice or whatever, and just drink, take it down. But with capsules, it's tough to change individual doses. So if you get capsules of L-theanine that are 100 milligrams each, without opening up like the gel cap and pouring out or adding some powder, you'll limit it to that 100 milligram dose. Sometimes too, the capsules will be pressed, which means they're like those little solid caps. So with those, you can cut them and modify them a bit easier, but without a scale, you're kind of just eyeballing it. So if it's a 100 milligram dose and you want 50, and you can cut it in half, but it probably won't be exact. It'll be like 55-45 split or whatever. So with powders, it's a lot easier to modify the doses because it's just a big bag of powder. But typically you'll need like a scale to do with any sort of accuracy. But with Powder City, the supplier I use, they come with little red scoops, which are the same size as a typical dose. So I'm taking like my Noopept, which is a 10 milligram dose. The scoop is 10 milligrams. So if you scoop a nice level scoop, it's an exact dose. And you just put that under your tongue and let it dissolve. Nice and simple. You can also cap them yourself, but that's, for another video. They're also a lot cheaper. So if you get 30 10 milligram Noopept capsules from Powder City, it's $6.64, which is 300 milligrams. If you get a gram powdered, it's only $3.87. So it's over 3 times as much at half the cost. And if you're taking like 5 different nootropics, that cost can add up pretty quickly. It can be the difference between like a $50 and a $100 stack a month. So I recommend getting powdered forms whenever possible if you're kind of serious about taking them long term. But there's a little extra work, and if you're not capping them, they taste pretty nasty for the most part. I mean, putting that powder under your tongue does not taste good. It's tolerable, but if you're doing it 5 times a day, a couple different powders, it gets kind of annoying. Something to be aware of. On fat soluble versus water soluble, what's the difference? So, at its essence, this is about how the nootropics dissolve in your body, either with fats, usually in the form of food ingested with a nootropic, which is eggs, meat, nuts, whatever. There's fat in pretty much everything. Or with water, which stomach acid is water and it ditto for saliva. You just take them without food and they dissolve faster. That way the fat can actually interrupt the dissolving and like the absorption process into the body. So most, not all, nootropics are fat soluble, which means they should be taken a little bit before you eat. And this is sort of a rule of thumb. If you're taking a nootropic stack, it should be about a half an hour before you eat to kind of maximize the fat soluble and the water soluble components. So to allow the fat soluble components, you want to let them bind to the fat cells in the food. So if they're not anything to bind to, they won't absorb as well. So you'll kind of waste some of the effects. You'll have to take a larger dose. It won't be consistent, so you want to take them with food. So I'm taking a stack right now that consists of a capsuled formula and Noopept powder. So when I wake up in the morning, I take the nootropic capsule, which is 4 fat-soluble components, and then I dissolve some Noopept under my tongue. Then I go and make breakfast. I usually make omelets. With prep and cooking, it takes about a half an hour before I'm eating. which is enough time for the new pep to be absorbed into my bloodstream under the tongue, and enough time to get some fat into my stomach to digest the capsule. So depending on whatever your stack is, you can usually make a workaround like this once you know how best to take the components, whether fat or water soluble, when you want to take them in the day, so on and so forth. So if you want to buy powders, my recommended supplier is Powder City. There'll be a link under the video. And have a good day. Cheers.